Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This week we are going to start a special series focused on apparel stores. And in this series we'll look into average order value optimization, we'll look into email flows, and also the LTV optimization. So there's a little bit of more advanced material coming up, and also material that is very practical with a lot of examples. I'll try to make this very apparel focused and see like what specifically for this niche matters. How do we? And by the end of the series, you will have strategies that we've seen work for many of our 8-figure e-commerce clients. And here, just follow along. They will be in bite-sized pieces. And we are going to start with the average order value optimization. But before we do that, if you don't yet know who I am, what the channel is about, this is Samuel Larsen speaking, founder of CROgurus.com. At any given point, we work with 15 to 20 highly ambitious e-commerce brands, optimizing their sites to make them convert more of their users into revenue and more revenue. So we're all about revenue, results, numbers here, and that's what everything is based on. Now, a final thing before we jump into it. When fashion stores fail, it is often for one of two reasons. It's a very difficult niche from the customer acquisition perspective. The CACs are very high, and also you have a lot of product misfits. Sizing can be a little bit wrong, and people generally are not that happy. It's just very difficult to get apparel right. So that's why this niche is a very interesting one, because they have a lot of competition. It's the biggest Shopify niche that there is, and it's the niche that everyone wants to start at. Like, everyone wants to sell clothes, at least all the females I know. So that's what makes it challenging in a way, but also advanced, interesting, and there's a lot of upside to getting it right. Now with these strategies that I'm going to go through today, they get more rare and advanced as we go along. So first we'll start with a couple of really simple ones, and then we'll dive deeper into it. So let's get started. Alright, here we are with the screen share, and let's start from strategy number 1. Adding a free shipping threshold to the site. So very simply, if people have something to aspire to, they are more likely to go for there. So here you have just a very standard way of showing that free shipping on all orders over X. There's a ton of stores that show this on the hello bar. I'd say in my experience this tends to be around 50% of the stores. So free shipping on all orders over 150. Here's another one, or over $50. There's a link to that. Here's 125, a little bit of urgency. Next up, $35, $100, $200. So here, what should be the number that you settle for? So typically you take your average order value and multiply that by 1.5, 1.3, somewhere there along that line to find the sweet spot. This also depends a little bit on different factors. So for example, if you do benefit a lot from higher average order values, so your shipping is not that efficient, then you'd probably want to have that a little bit higher, because the free shipping costs you more. And also, if you are very competitive on the shipping, say you only ship domestically, etc., then you might want to consider to bring it lower. So it's not only about pure revenue maximization there, it is also about thinking profitability wise. Now the best way to test this, if you haven't yet, is I'd recommend doing something like this, where you have a limited period and then you use that for urgency. And then later on, if you want, and if this proves to be a good one, either you can continue with these urgencies, doing it periodically, or you can just make it a regular thing for you. So that's the free shipping thresholds to the site. Next up, we have discount tiers. So just like on the free shipping threshold, these can help in getting more products added to the cart and eventually purchased. So on the free shipping one, you can show it like this on a bar as well. However, it will be even more popular if you combine it with, say, 10% off, 15% off, 20% off. Or if you have single products that that would be beneficial to sell more of them, of course, and they are often bought in multiples. Say this could be a black basic t-shirt and it's like fairly cheap. Then you could have something like this as well. Buy one, save 0%, buy three, save 15%. And that way you can get people to be a little bit, perhaps greedy is the right word to use there, to get more than they really need. And here's a little bit more explanation on that. So it's just from an app, but it shows the principle of how powerful this can be. You have this innate need for completion as a human being, where once you have started something, you'd want to finish that. And you're so close to that perk that this can work really well. And there you can even combine this. Don't go this extreme. So normally your site can end up looking a little bit like a Christmas tree if you go too hard on it. But there's a nice middle ground to be achieved. Alright, next up we have the basket analysis. So this is something that you can do in Google Analytics. And the idea here is that you are going to be identifying the products that are generating the highest revenue for the store. There are multiple ways to do this. In this kind of case, I have taken the non-product based landers and used that as a segment. And I've done this because otherwise you might have a product page that gets a lot of paid traffic, for example, that might not perform very well because then you have a situation where it's skewed to one page versus another. And then I have an advanced filter here for products. So it only shows product pages. And here on the right, you can see the page value based on that. This does require a little bit more data. So don't overreact to these like smaller sample sizes. But then generally it should look something like this. So you have some product pages here. So for example, in this kind of case, best vitamin. And it is generating $25.50, whereas the disco thing here is generating only 7.6. Now, this disco thing is a discovery thing, so you'd expect that to be a little bit lower. It's mostly newer customers, but then you can weigh that in your head and perhaps make a personalization where the discovery is shown to the new users and the other products are shown to the other ones. And this way you can start prioritizing and identifying which elements on your store should be highlighted, which should you lead with, which should you not, and get better consistency with that. This strategy is definitely good enough for the 7-figure level. Once you start going over $10 million a year, then you typically want to have a little bit more in-depth understanding. So this, for example, does not take into account margins, or it doesn't take into account return rates. So those are some things that also would play a part in this. And there's also things like how often does this lead to repeat purchases, and does this lead to multiple different products being added to the cart and stuff like that. So that's all like just communicating how deep the rabbit hole can go when it comes to basket analysis and analyzing different pages. But 95% of stores haven't even thought which products they should show first on their category pages. So this will get you an edge over the competition. Next up, we have product upsells. And there's a lot of talk, material, apps. Even these are like to some degree built into Shopify naturally when you have the related products, etc. So I'm going to show you a specific thing for fashion and apparel that is more relevant. And this is the buy the look or shop by look option. And the nice thing with this for improving the average order value is that these are individual items that work in combination to each other. And also, this means that for those individual item owners, you can inspire them to purchase the other products as well to complete the look. So here's an example from NoHo, and they are a fairly big store. And it just works like this. You have images, and then you click on the image, you get the different options presented to you. So this way you can complete the look. You can choose your sizes and select the colors, quantities, etc. And this order here would be several hundred euros. Any one of these individually would be maximum 189. So it really makes a difference. And of course, like, people are more likely to go and purchase these items if they really like the look. There's higher confidence in this look working out, since it is fashionable, etc., rather than thinking of these items individually. Here's an example also from Zalando. There's different apps now that can do this for you, but just to show the example. And from here, you can add them to the wish list, you can click to the product pages, etc. to complete the look. And also there's now more and more of these builders, where you'd be able to use a builder like this to then AI generate these different looks to see how they would look together. So it works really well, and that's going to be the future of the Shop the Look widgets. It's going to be AI. Last is reputation. So there's going to be reviews online about your store, if there's not yet. And one of the big issues that apparel store owners face are bad reviews. So there's people that just need to went online and complain. It's difficult to get the sizing right, it's difficult to get the delivery right, it's difficult to get the returns right. So fashion stores tend to have some of the least happy customers of them all. And if you have this challenge, reputation management is very needed. Otherwise, negative reviews will ruin your store's chances of success. People will go to Google and they will find these things out. And for that particular situation, there's a couple of ways that can be mitigated. So for example, when people go and Google your thing, so reviews will always be one of the most Googled items on any store. And once you Google that, you will typically get third-party review sites, and there they will show the ratings and reviews, and these can be quite eye-catching. What we recommend to merchants is to start their own review page, because this can also rank quite highly. Because here you have the exact keyword, and here you also have the exact keyword. So it's very relevant to your store from that perspective. And on your site, you will have a little bit more control over the reviews. So here we have 72,000 reviews, and the score is higher than on Reviews.io, for example. So it's like 3.5 stars versus 2.0. Now, how do we bring this to really be powerful? As we would funnel the positive reviews into these different platforms based on which one is the most powerful one. And eventually we want to get our site to be the number one. And a couple of strategies for that. So you have your page. What you can do is use schema markup for rich snippets to show the rating. So it will show similar to Reviews.io here. Google doesn't always show it, but it should show fairly consistently. And then what you can also do is use Google Ads to show that first. So you will advertise that review page as first, and also show the stars there. So people are more likely to see those stars as opposed to, say, these ones. And lastly, once you have that advertisement there, people are also more likely to look at and click on your SEO result as it goes together. Also with Google Ads, you have control over what kind of copy you are going to share or show. So there's more advantage from that as well. And since it is your store, it will be cheap to advertise your review page over these third-party competitors who really don't have an incentive to do that. They will not be making money from you selling your products or services. So those are some of the ideas to improve the average order value. And yes, this fifth one also will improve the average order value, even though it seems like it's a little bit of a separate thing. these trust factors will be important, and it is one that will help get people more comfortable about taking bigger risks in their shopping journeys. Alright, hope you liked it. If you did, thumbs up please. Very good. Thank you in advance. Stay tuned for the next episodes, and you can find a lot of other interesting videos from the channel, so feel free to browse around. And thank you. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.